الله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن اشكر لله ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Luqman, the next set of ayat will deal with Hazrat Luqman alayhi salatu wassalam, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him wisdom, and based on that wisdom which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testifying in this surah, what advice did he give to his son. And this is an advice for all people, all human beings. Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam, according to true narrations, was not a Nabi but a very wise person. It has been narrated about him that he was presented with the option of choosing nubuwwah, prophethood, or wisdom, and he picked wisdom. And another narration is said that he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, is prophethood your command? If it is your command, then I'll gladly accept it. If it's not, then I'll take wisdom. And he chose wisdom because the prophethood was not a command for him. And he was asked later on, he said that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had commanded me to become a prophet, then he would have definitely also supported me and made me able to do it. And if I accepted prophethood of my own choice, then it would have been my choice, and I don't want to make that choice. Rather, I want wisdom from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, every Nabi is the wisest person of their time, but this is just a narration that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a lot of wisdom, although he was not a prophet. Such wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is quoting what he said in the Quran itself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that indeed we had given Luqman wisdom to Luqman alayhi salam, and said, be grateful to Allah. So be grateful over this big blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is wisdom. وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ. And whoever is grateful, they are indeed grateful for their own benefit. So the benefit in thankfulness is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on increasing that favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done and a person is giving thanks over. So when Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam would have given thanks over his wisdom, then Allah would have increased his wisdom further, and we can imagine how his wisdom would be great because of this thanks that he gave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a general understanding for everybody, that when somebody gives thanks, it is for their own benefit, it does not benefit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A very clear benefit is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on increasing that thing over which Allah is thanked. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. And whoever turns away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and becomes ungrateful, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ, then Allah is free of all needs and worthy of all praise. Allah is not dependent on your praise to be praiseworthy. Allah has praise, Allah owns praise, Allah is the owner of praise. Somebody praise Allah or not praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something belongs to Allah, it belongs to Allah. So praise belongs to Allah. Allah is free of any needs and He is praiseworthy in His own self. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ, when Luqman alayhi salam, remember when Luqman alayhi salam said to his son while he was advising him, and wa'az is that goodness enjoined upon somebody in which the person who is saying something good has no benefit of their own. And our parents, when they tell us something good, then the benefit is ours, not theirs. Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. The first thing that Luqman alayhi salam said to his son was, "O my son, do not do shirk with Allah." So the Arab people who considered him a very wise person and often mentioned, one Sahabi has said that I have read 10,000 things of wisdom from Luqman. So the Arab people, he was a famous personality in the Arabs and they knew him to be a very wise person. The first thing that he said to his son was, "La tushrik billah, do not ever associate any partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna ash-shirka la dhulmun azim." Indeed, doing shirk is a grave transgression, a huge sin. Dhulm is misplacing things and putting things where they do not belong. And the biggest dhulm is that we place worship where it does not belong, which is that we include anyone else apart from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our worship. The next thing is وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْكَ إِلَيَّ الْمَصِيرُ. We commanded man to be good in respect of his parents. His mother carried him despite weakness upon weakness. So all human beings, they are carried by their mothers, and even if the mother is weak and increasing in weakness, still she carries their child. وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ, and his weaning is in 2 years. So this is the general principle, but the details of it are intricate, which can be asked from ulama. Anishkurli wali walidayk, be thankful to me and be thankful to your parents. Be grateful to me and to your parents. Ilayya al-masir, to me is the ultimate return. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by not ascribing any partners and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be thankful to your parents by listening to them, by making them happy, by keeping them pleased with you and fulfilling their rights in this world as much as you can. Ilayya al-masir, you are going to return to me and you are going to find your return with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do good to your parents, you find your return to Allah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find your reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are bad and evil with your parents, then you are going to see that in the hereafter as well, without doubt. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.